Something that could be a total game changer for your life. And I'm not talking about some simple motivation hack. We're talking about an ancient science, a powerful technique that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries. So, have you ever looked around and wondered, why is it that a tiny fraction of people, maybe 1%, seem to achieve everything they want, while the other 99% of us feel like we're just spinning our wheels? Well, the difference isn't just luck, and it's not even about who works the hardest. It's about something else entirely. A secret that kicks in right before we fall asleep. I want you to picture someone who has given their absolute all. They've worked tirelessly, they've sacrificed, but in the end, it just didn't work out. And now they're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, just replaying every mistake, feeling like the entire world is stacked against them. If you've ever felt that kind of helplessness, you know that the real battle isn't fought during the day. It's won or lost in those quiet final moments at night. And that's where the secret lies. The key that separates that 1% from the 99% isn't found in the hustle and grind of your day. Nope. It's hidden in the last 2 minutes before you drift off to sleep. Just look at this contrast, right? On one side, you've got our modern habit, scrolling through our phones, bathing our brains in bad news, stress, and comparison right up until the moment we close our eyes. We're basically falling asleep with all this negative static. But on the other side, there's this ancient wisdom, the idea that these moments hold the key to unlocking something truly profound. Now let me be super clear about this. This isn't some new age trend that just popped up. This is a practice with incredibly deep roots. Some of the most brilliant civilizations and thinkers in all of history knew about this power and used it for everything from healing to world-changing inventions. Just check out this timeline. We're talking thousands of years ago in ancient India, where the Vedic rishis called it Sankalpa Vigyan, which literally means the science of intention. The ancient Egyptians built entire sleep temples for this, places where people would go to get answers in their dreams. The Greeks had a similar practice they called incubation. Fast forward to someone like Thomas Edison. He famously used this pre-sleep state to get ideas for his inventions. And now, today, modern neuroscience is finally catching on, giving it a name like sleep programming. So what is actually happening here? Well, when you go to sleep, you're not just powering down. Think of it more like you're traveling from one dimension of consciousness to another. It's the one time your logical, critical mind finally takes a back seat, and your incredibly powerful subconscious mind gets to take the wheel. And this is basically what that shift looks like. When we're awake, our brain is in this high-frequency beta state. That's our conscious mind. It's the one that's always analyzing, worrying, and judging. But as we start to get drowsy, our brainwaves slow down to alpha and then theta. This is the gateway. This is when we're talking directly to the subconscious, the part of us that doesn't argue or doubt. It just accepts. You know, science even has a name for this magical little window, the hypnagogic state. It's that sweet spot when you're not quite awake, but not quite asleep either. It's the moment the veil between your logical mind and your deep intuitive mind is at its absolute thinnest. This is exactly the state that geniuses like Edison and Einstein would use to solve problems that their waking minds just couldn't crack. Okay, so we've talked about the why and the when. You get it. This is powerful stuff. But now for the big question. How do we actually do this? Let's walk through a super simple 4-step method that's been pulled directly from these ancient practices. And you know what? It is beautifully simple. First, you relax. Just lie down and let every single muscle in your body go limp. Second, you focus on your breath. Close your eyes and just watch your breath go in and out. You're not trying to change it, just observing. This calms the mental chatter. Third, you ask. Silently, in your mind, pose the one important question you need an answer to. And finally, and this is the absolute most important part, you become the witness. You release the question. You let it go completely, without trying to solve it or figure it out. Your job is just to ask, and then let go. I love this analogy because it's so perfect for our modern lives. Think of it like this. You're typing a question into the world's most powerful search engine. You type it in, and then you hit enter. You don't sit there and try to figure out the algorithms, right? You just trust that the answer will come. Well, those last 2 minutes before sleep, that's you hitting the enter button on your mind. You're sending the request out to the cosmos, to your own deep subconscious, whatever you want to call it. And here is the trap. This is where 99% of people go wrong. They ask the question, and then their logical brain immediately jumps in and starts trying to analyze it and solve it. You have to resist that urge. Your only job is to plant the seed, ask the question, and then step back. Let your logical mind go off duty for the night. Now, I know some of this might sound a little mystical, but what's so incredible is how it lines up perfectly with modern psychological principles. It's really where ancient belief meets modern science.
For example, there's this really cool psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect. And what it says, basically, is that our brains are hardwired to obsess over incomplete tasks. We remember them way better than the things we finished. So, when you pose a question and then fall asleep without answering it, you've just given your brain the ultimate incomplete task to work on all night long.
So what is your brain actually doing? Well, for one, your subconscious is sorting through every memory, every experience, every piece of information you've ever absorbed, looking for connections you missed. But the ancient traditions had an even more beautiful metaphor. They called it connecting to the Hiranyagarbha, which is like a cosmic, universal knowledge bank, a place where the answer to your question might just be waiting for you. So, how does the answer show up? Well, it can come in all kinds of ways. It could be in a dream, it might hit you like a flash of lightning the moment you wake up, that's your classic epiphany, or it might come from the outside. Someone says something that's the exact thing you needed to hear, or you notice a wild coincidence, a synchronicity that points you in the right direction. It's like you've tuned your antenna to the right frequency and now you can pick up the signal. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. The ancient texts say, Bhavo hi vidyate deva. It means the divine resides in the feeling. Your feeling, your emotion is everything. If you ask with a heart full of doubt, you're sending a scrambled signal. You have to ask with pure, unwavering trust. Like a child asking their mother for help, completely certain they'll be taken care of. That feeling of faith is the fuel for this entire process. Okay, so this has been more than just interesting information. This is an invitation. This is something you can use to start changing your life, literally tonight. It really boils down to this. Whatever emotion you take to bed with you is what you're going to practice for the next 8 hours. So if you fall asleep worrying about a problem, you are literally giving yourself an 8-hour training session in worry. But if you fall asleep with a feeling of hope, of expecting a solution, you are practicing 8 hours of success. Every single night, that choice is yours. It really reminds me of what the great Swami Vivekananda said. Every soul has the potential to be divine. That incredible, divine potential, it's already inside you, in your subconscious mind. This technique is simply one of the keys to unlocking it.
Now look, the first few times you try this, your mind is going to be all over the place. And that is perfectly okay. Don't get frustrated. Understand this isn't just a simple little habit. It's a sadhana. It's a dedicated practice. Stick with it and you will get the hang of it.
So I'll leave you with a question. Tonight, when you finally lie down, when the noise of the world fades away, what is the one question you will ask the universe? Because in those 2 minutes, your whole world can change. The universe